tribe, how are you? So I was just sitting, feeling into what I wanted to share today, and initially it was sort of the feeling versus thinking, and then it came into that, the feeling and thinking are totally connected. Our our feeling state is ultimately kind of the aspect of our creative thought projection. So, how we're feeling in any given moment is totally connected to the nature or the frequency of our thoughts. And then, because as a culture or world or how we've come to be raised, we've become, you could say, just obsessed with thinking or obsessed with thought, and obsessed to the point of thinking thought is true, thinking that thought is the reality or is our identity. So our ability to feel more and think less, be in the presence field of our own feeling rather than in the limited thought. And this is just a practice, right? So this is just a way of us expanding our sense of self by transcending thought via the feeling body. And this is where we can see disparity in ourselves, in other, in community, in the world, is like closing that gap of what I think this, that, and the other is versus where the feeling disparity actually is. So our feeling bad can sometimes be the fact that we, deep in our feeling body, deep in our own intuitive inner knowing, we know that we have this potential, that potential, and yet the present moment now offers us a clear kind of sense of the closing of the gap of, well, I'm not there now. I've got to feel this way, that way, and the other to actually usher in these manifestations if I want to be a vibrational match to them. So hence why getting to know our feelings and getting to relate and work with our feeling body, our emotional body, is so imperative for manifestation, quantum manifestation. If we're not delving into that, and even as a really clear distinction, you guys, if we don't know fear and pain, then we're not going to be able to open ourselves up to access bliss and ecstasy. If we don't acknowledge and become fully aware of our own shame, our own guilt, our own self-denial, our own self-deception, if we're consciously sort of trying to pretend that's not there, then we're not going to know or open ourselves up to the other. And I think that's why the guidebook is so much about us being able to really sit with, honor, and feel the disparity of our emotional realities. Feel how much pain we carry, feel how much shame we carry, feel all the guilt we have, feel all of the discomfort and the grief and the jealousy, so that we can honor the other and thus open ourselves up, openness, willingness to receive, right? Step 8, open ourselves up to call it in. And we did talk about this, we've touched on this, the fact that we actually have to practice both, the same practice for both polarities. We can often get swept up and ungrounded, just like we can go into like despair, isolation, and self-pity when we're getting sort of wallowing in the darker, denser emotions. But we can also get kind of sweep off our feet or come out of our center when we get carried away, or when we get kind of, almost you could say, too attached to bliss and ecstasy. Now here's the center point of all of this, like deep down inside with the centerness within, it's the fact that that centeredness is just like an infinite void. It's totally non-attached. It's totally just space. It's just infinite, open, creative space, because creation comes from within that kind of expansive depth and field of voidal awareness, voidal energy, to come through into different portals of manifestation. So anything that we attach externally is going to be a distortion. So we kind of want to have this potential to withdraw whenever we're feeling an emotion, whether it's a high one or a low one, a good one or a bad one, right? That we can actually, in any given moment, expand into the void. And I gotta say, this is a divine recognition for me to share with you guys, is that it really is that ability which helps us process, heal, and transform these deep, dark, painful reactions that we have, these wave-like, storm-like energies that come through our bodies, so that we don't wallow in them, so that we don't almost attach ourselves to them to the point of our detriment, i.e. to the point of holding on to even the process that we lay out in the Fearless Life Guide, but that we do actually permission ourselves to, at some point, maybe even possibly break free from that depth of emotionality, because we've transformed enough of our darkness, right? And we can rise in and open ourselves up to higher manifestations. But it still means we still face, we still look at, we still hold space and are fully aware of those depths, right? Of those darknesses. But we have to kind of go through the darkness, feel the darkness, feel the suffering, feel the pain, feel the contraction, so that we can access and feel and know the other. That's part of a dualistic reality. That's part of living in a world of contrast. This law of attraction based universe that we're living in, we have to see contrast to experience polarities. And let's be honest, if we weren't experienced, we wouldn't be doing any of this consciousness evolution awakening work if we weren't, as beings, gosh darn tired of living in darkness, of living in pain, of living in limitation, of living in unconscious programming of fear, for the benefit of other beings that a lot of us are probably just like, could you not? But really, the could you not is like you saying to you, could you not? And could you just own your creative power as a being, which means owning the totality of the expression that we are, which is our fears and judgments, our past creations. I had a little moment with that this morning of honoring different times in my life as that creation and not having any resistance to that creation and or denial or wanting to squash her out or wanting to pretend like she never existed, but actually really embracing that girl too, that woman as well, you know, as part of this continual expression. And it's something to be really aware of around this whole shift, right? Is that we're moving away from linearity, which means we can recognize that linear accumulation can start to kind of open up a bit. So the way we work with our physical vessel and the way we're working with our reality is a perpetual cyclical process, which for me aligns in the world of well-being anyway. That perception then aligns with the body being able to regenerate itself cyclically. And so that is a massive shift regarding the aging process, regarding how we show up in these forms on a perceived timeline. So becoming a lot more conscious in our creation has to do with owning the totality completely as a sovereign creator, which means other people's thoughts and belief projections don't necessarily become your own, that you work with your own vessel, with your desired creations or your desired workings with, or challenges or themes, and work them out from within self, not from within the external, or not from without the external program. Again, the reversal of the world's thinking, right? You're working with the sensational feeling body, which is really just the vibrational reality. Whatever we're seeing around us is feedbacking to us what we're holding and what we're carrying. This is why I've withdrawn even more from social, is any sense of striving. I'm really integrating all of that into the beingness that I am, so that I can be more clear and efficient rather, and also be more clear in my dedicated energy to the Fearless Life Tribe. And certainly as we get ready to launch the Alta Love courses, which will then be relaunching throughout the year, for those people who are ready to make actionable changes in their lives and be part of a broader movement and community. And we're leading the way with this, right? We're transforming our densities and fears is ultimately what helps to open us up to higher inspired thought, and then manifest more of that, manifest more of that. So working on our internal state of consciousness so that what we're manifesting becomes more aligned with the truth that we know that we're here to be, right? And that's why it's so unique and so giving power back to, like, so I integrate, become the person I desire, which gives you the power to be the person you desire, knowing that your process is going to be a little bit different. Obviously, there's elements that we all resonate with, otherwise we wouldn't be guided to one another. But I can already notice and see the fluctuation, the ebbs and flows, people coming in and people leaving. Oftentimes we have huge lessons to learn from one another, which, again, this stuff isn't necessarily pleasant, but that's part of lifting our lid on love and light, everybody. It's all love and light. But then it's not. Otherwise we wouldn't live in an infinite universe. An infinite universe is infinite. There's infinite spectrums of creation, which means there's like darker darknesses than probably most of us even want to imagine or try to imagine. And then there's higher bliss states and higher consciousness states that we're still not even aware of. There might be different aspects of universal creation that we're not aware of. There might be intergalactic beings that are our friends that we're not even aware of. So let's just blow the lid wide open, empty our mind, and just take bite-sized pieces out of our own potential so that it can be a little bit more gentle. And that's something that I'm picking up on with the astrological shifts and movements, is that part of this new wave of energy is actually the fact that we're being supported in our sovereignty path. We're on a collective, universal, astrological, planetary, whatever you want, the biggest and the smallest levels possible, we are being supported in our evolution here now. So a lot of us who have we can then pioneer and support other people as they awaken, and that's part of the natural ushering of higher consciousness and next level human civilization on this planet. It's that we're kind of turning away, or we're healing and letting go of the old paradigm, the old world, and as simultaneously we're healing those energies, we're opening up to this new reality. It feels better, it feels more open, it feels more aligned with this inner knowing, and yet all of us have different integrative realities to draw in so that we can get more clear on who it is we are in this lifetime to create on this planet Earth here now. The new Earth, you guys! Born of the new paradigm on the planet, which believes and knows that we are one energy and that we can indeed live in peace. But that there's a whole bunch of us vibrating different things, and thus there's a whole bunch of different worlds vibrating different realities, and you just get to choose. That's it. You're choosing. You are your choices. You're choosing. Just reminding us all, we're choosing. Sometimes we choose real bad, real icky, bicky shit. And then, but once you own it and you hold yourself accountable for it, then you can make a change. If you just deflect it and make it somebody else's problem or someone else's fault, then you can't change it. I think that's it for today. I'm starting to get this thing about the illusion of separation in denial of separation, or in a projection of separation. But that's another thought. If that's interesting to you, then make a little comment about it, either on the tribe page or here, and I will yoke that. I'll kind of go into that idea of how we discern between resonance and judgment, fear and intuitive knowing. All right, that's it, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'm loving having more energy, not being on the conveyor belt of social media, and I gotta say, I can really notice that addictive tick with it, and how it's helping me look at all elements of coping mechanisms in a kind of lighter way, in a really gentle way as well. But I'm loving having more energy and having more time for just self-care, self-love, relaxation, rest, and all of that. Have a beautiful day, tribe. I love you guys loads. I'll speak to you soon. Peace out.